Oh, hi, yeah. I didn't know what you were looking like or what.
Right, sorry, I
Hey,
face or
cheers, Kate.
How's it going?
Yeah, good. And I was gonna grab a seat there, and then it got busy.
Oh, here's
It's
good.
not bad. Yeah, it's kind of loud, but
Here it's good. Let's
yeah. Okay, cool, brilliant.
do you mind if I record it on my iPhone?
Do it. Let me just turn my music off here. Although not that anyone can hear it, but there's no point in me running it,
Yeah.
right? Um, and then some of the friends I've chatted with as well have said a few things to me that, well, they don't want to say publicly, and they're totally hidden.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So
Cool. So when did
Yeah.
you first move here? Have you always lived here?
to Vancouver,
Yeah.
pretty much I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Like,
were. Yeah, cool.
I was here for 8 years in Vancouver before,
Yeah.
and then I just got back in July.
Cool. So you
got
were
back in July.
you were being a nomad around.
I was.
Whereabouts?
Yeah. Well, I'm originally from Europe, and so I pretty much went back home. I went back home to backpack a little bit, to look around. I was here before for 8 years. I had a full-time job, sat in an office,
Yeah.
and did all that great stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then I had this opportunity where I kind of had a break from work, and I thought, well, why not go to Europe? Just like everybody, right? Who doesn't
Yeah.
want to explore?
Awesome.
So,
So you came back here and you're living in the van now? Or?
I am, yeah.
Cool.
I
Is that
am.
something you kind of picked up in Europe and wanted to
You
do?
know, yes and no, because I was backpacking for pretty much 2 years, actually.
Cool.
2 years, and it was great fun.
Yeah.
And so I did that, and then I got a job in northern British Columbia, and
Okay.
I needed a car to get there,
Yeah.
right? So I got a car, and then I spoke to one of the local campsites, and I thought, why don't I just camp in the car?
Yeah.
It's cheaper than rent, and I'm going to be working full time every day with that job that I had. It
Yeah.
was a supervising position, so it was day and night.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm only going to be there a couple hours. So I did that, and hence I was only there. I was in my car sleeping maybe 5-6 hours, and I was back at work.
That's savage.
It was go. It
Yeah.
was savage. Thank you.
Yeah.
But that's what the job turned out to be. So that's where that started.
Okay, cool. So same van that you used in Vancouver, did you just drive it down? And
I did.
That's really
I did
cool.
drive it down.
That's cool.
Which, considering it was the back country, sort of, I'm surprised the van worked. Because
Yeah.
I do have a van,
Like a,
not like a truck,
yeah.
right?
Like what kind of van?
It's like one of those soccer mom vans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the style.
Yeah.
Like, but they're all the same. No, nothing's changed in over 30 years for van styles.
Cool. What do you mean?
You know.
Like what make is it? Like what's the
It's actually a generic because, okay, so for most part for vans, what the company will do, or the manufacturer, they will design a vehicle, a van,
Yeah.
and they'll just sell off the van to companies, and they'll put their own name on it.
Okay. Great.
So, for example, I've seen the same make and model, and I've looked this up, with dozens of different companies. So Dodge, Chevy, Chrysler
Yeah.
has the exact same van, but they've changed the name.
Oh, okay, cool.
And they've changed the company name. So
Okay.
they're pretty much just one manufacturer. Basically, there's one manufacturer,
Yeah.
they'll build the product, then people put their label on it.
Okay.
Unlike with trucks, those are continually changing. There's always new cool fenders and rims and
Right.
just cool stuff. A van's never changed.
Okay.
Not in
cool.
30 years.
So you've got like a bed in the back and
Yeah. Totally cushy. It's
Yeah.
so cozy and warm,
Mhm.
right? Just like any old, it's a proper bed,
cool.
right? Which maybe I'm in, again, a couple hours,
Yeah.
right? That's
Just because your work
because I'm working.
means that you have to. What
That's
do you
right.
do?
Well, so right now, I'm working in the service industry.
Cool.
I work as a server. I serve food.
Yeah.
And I do that, and then I've got a bunch of other part-time jobs. I work online. I do transcribing, audio transcribing.
Cool.
So I get like a
Oh my god, that's
audio,
my least
and then,
favorite part of
and
my
then
job.
I know. So you're doing it right now.
Yeah.
And so I ended up doing that because I had a job with a film company, a studio, and that was my only job.
Oh, damn.
I didn't really like it, but I was a fast typer.
Yeah.
So I started doing it now for
Yeah.
my own self,
Yeah. Fair enough.
right? So that's the thing is, you know, side note about jobs and where I'm sleeping in my van.
Yeah.
The thing is, when I was working in an office and doing all that 4 years ago, that's all I was doing. I was working.
Yeah.
Work was my life. Don't get me wrong, I actually love my work. It's a hobby. So for me, it's not like, oh my god, he's working, he doesn't
Yeah.
have a life.
Yeah.
That was my life. I adore it.
Yeah.
And I adore being a waiter now too.
Cool.
So the thing is, I realized now looking back that I was never home. I was paying rent and heat and hot water for a place I was never at because I showered in the studio or whatever it might be or at work
Yeah.
between shifts. And I went home, I slept for a couple hours, and then I left.
Yeah.
I thought, I only need a room to rent to sleep in. I'm back to work.
Yeah.
So this sort of fit in. I realized I don't need an entire house.
Yeah. That's cool. Do you save a lot of money, presumably? What are your overheads?
I am. My what? My
Your overheads?
sorry.
and cost of
My
running?
overheads. Yeah. Well, on average, about 1,000 a month, if that,
Okay.
maybe less.
For like,
The-
gas and
That's the
parking
main
and-
thing. Gas is the main issue.
Okay.
Parking, not so much. There's actually a lot of free parking in Vancouver,
Okay, cool.
which you don't really notice until it's something that's a part of your life.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
sort of like, say you leave your apartment every single day for a decade,
Yeah.
and you don't notice that there's a mailbox right out there, and
Yeah.
your job is to send mail. And you don't
Yeah.
notice it until some kid points it out, and you think, "Oh my gosh, I didn't notice it because I was so focused on getting to the office to
Right.
mail my
and
letters."
You just go on your own.
Exactly.
You just have your own like paths and displays.
Same thing. Now
That's
that I'm driving here in the city, I've found where the parking spots are that are free in Vancouver or very cheap.
Yeah.
That's a big thing as well. I tell a lot of my friends who drive, irregardless of what you're driving for, there's a lot of great parking in the side streets of Vancouver, or cheap
Yeah.
parking actually.
Yeah. There's like a bunch around kids.
Yeah.
There's a bunch around kids. Like a lot of people in my office drive to work, and then my office is on Broadway, so you can't park on Broadway. So every like 4 hours they get up and just move their car somewhere else and move up.
See, and that's enough.
It's pretty funny.
You get a coffee. It works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's good.
That's
It's good.
cool. So what's the best bit?
The best bit? Oh man, for me, ever since I started backpacking, this is the best bit. Then I have no attachment to an apartment. If I want, I can just get up, go on a trip.
Yeah.
And I don't have to keep paying rent
Yeah.
or worry about someone taking care of it or the power or something flooding and
That's
no
cool.
one being there. And because I don't have renter's insurance, I've never had it. So if I
Yeah.
get a flood,
Yeah. Everything is gone.
everything's gone. Although it's recommended to get renter's insurance.
That's true. I don't
Just
have
like car
rental
insurance. I mean, you'll have it so you don't need to use it.
Yeah.
But if you don't have it,
Yeah. Everything is gone.
ironically, I have nothing though.
Yeah. I feel that. Like I don't have renter's insurance, but that's because all of my possessions fill like 2 suitcases. It's like,
This is the thing, like, what do you know, if anything, like for you or for me, my laptop is what I do most of my work on.
yeah. Like my laptop and my guitars, and that's basically the only thing I have in my laptop.
Yeah, the guitar, and that's
So good.
music, huge thing. Yeah, well, that's the thing is, so what am I insuring exactly?
Yeah, that makes sense. So do you go on trips a lot?
I do.
Okay.
Pretty much, if I have a couple of days off work,
Yeah.
because I mean, I work full time right now. I'm 6-7 days a week,
Oh wow.
which sounds
Wow.
intense,
Yeah.
I know, but being the fact that I'm in the service industry, I really only work 5-hour days.
That's fair.
You
You're
know,
lucky. You're lucky.
like,
When I worked
I'm
in the
lucky,
service
I
industry, I
know.
worked long
I
long
know.
hours.
I'm lucky right now we have enough staff that they don't push us for too long.
Yeah.
But so when I do get a day off, I'm gone, even for 2 days. I hit, the country, I camp, I go for a hike, I get out of the city.
Cool.
Which is a huge thing. I don't need to try and book a rental car, I've got one right there. I
Yeah.
can go wherever I want.
That's cool.
And it's a big thing actually to get away from work for anybody. To just get it out of your head. Right? That's the advantage for me. I can go whenever I want.
That's cool.
But more so, not even the going, because anybody, if you have a car, just go.
Yeah.
For me, I can stay. I don't need to worry about hotels or everything being booked up.
Yeah.
I am out of the way. That's
cool.
the great thing.
That's really cool.
I'm not taking up a booking for maybe a room that a family might need, but yet a single person takes it. But then there's a family with kids freaking out.
Yeah.
But they can't have anything now because I booked it up.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And there's 2 beds for me. There's no point. I'm not even going to be there.
Yeah, you just have it so you can sleep somewhere. Yeah,
Right.
that's true. So what's the worst part?
The worst part?
Does it get cold or?
No. It's not cold. It's not cold at all, actually.
That's
I mean,
cool.
there's some, coldness like in any place you live. You turn on the heat.
Yeah.
Put on a blanket.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways of having heat in your van. Whether you're in a motorhome or a van, regardless, there's a lot of ways. Me being in a van wasn't designed. I converted it, right?
Yeah.
You get a car battery, you hook up a heater, you're done.
Yeah.
A lot of people use lamp heat, fire. I use that myself. It's a lot warmer and it lasts longer as well.
Is it like fire outside or?
Inside, like candles or like a lantern.
Yeah.
They're great. They work really well, right? But the worst thing, that's always manageable. The worst thing is people not knowing who I am.
Oh yeah.
And the big thing I have is people thinking that I'm a homeless drug addict who's going to
Yeah.
rob them.
That's funny.
That's the worst part.
Oh yeah.
It's tough. This is why I wanted to meet. And when I read
Yeah.
the articles to talk more about this, I've been attacked a couple times
Really?
in my vehicle. People thinking I'm some psycho. Right?
That's crazy.
It is. And these aren't even people that you would consider derelict or homeless. These are your nice, kind neighbors next door who are understanding people.
That's crazy. What do they? I mean, do they ever give you any reason or? Like, what
The
would they
reason
say?
is because they think I'm some drug addict here to make trouble. And
Yeah.
I'm filthy and ironically, I'm probably one of the most cleanest, hygienic people you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
Well educated. Not a drug addict, not a drinker.
Yeah.
And that goes to trying to educate people. Which is happening more and more with social media. But it's interesting, it's not a new thing. If you go to the much older generation that are,
Yeah.
say, in their 70s and so forth, they'll tell you the exact same thing was happening in the 60s and 70s. And this
Yeah,
is where...
it's kind of a cultural thing, right? Like a cultural idea that would say that it don't be something that would be conventional.
Right. It's interesting where it's come from, because in the 60s there's this whole free love movement. 70s, we started living in our vans.
Yeah.
Jump a few decades, we're back to it with social media. We're connecting and having free love again all over the world.
That's
But this time it's easier. And now we're living in our vans. Again, in part, because nothing else is affordable.
That's very true. That's very true.
Some people are falling into that category. I'm finding, originally I started doing this because of the travel aspect, but
Yeah.
now I'm finding it's just affordable.
Yeah,
Right?
an extra perk.
This is it, right? And so that's, when you're thinking about, let's say retirement. I don't know who even considers retirement nowadays, unless
Yeah.
you're CEO, because I've done the actual math.
Yeah.
If you have a regular 9-to-5 job, minimum wage,
Oh yeah.
you will never retire.
Oh, you'll never retire.
I've done the math, and this is why I hate math.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah.
I've done it. You need to put away, on average, $5,000 a month after taxes into savings, high interest account, in order to have the same quality of life you do now if you live in an apartment downtown.
That's crazy.
And that will be just over $1 million.
Yeah.
But that's in 60 years. In
Yeah,
60
plus
years, it'll probably change. And yeah, with the inflation. So you'll need at least 2 to 3 million to actually live.
It's a bit depressing.
So I've stopped trying.
Yeah.
This is why I don't pay a mortgage anymore on a home, because I was putting a down payment. And I stopped. I thought, I'm not there often enough.
Yeah.
And I don't get to take it with me when I die.
Yeah.
What am I getting? I'm not actually getting anything. I'm working for no reason. And the research I've done and that I've experienced, with travel, people that travel and spend their money on events and things to do are happier people.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Instead of
Rather than
things.
things. Yeah. It makes you a
And-
richer person.
That's exactly it. And we're all discovering this more and more. And so, for me, this is sort of what encompasses falling into a van.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you're part of a community?
There's a huge community, and most people. So when you're talking to me, for example, the one that's chatting about a story, we choose to be nomads.
Yeah.
And nomads are not a new thing,
Yeah.
right? We choose it. That's the thing. There's a huge community of people that don't want to pay $2,000 for a 400 square foot apartment when they're not there.
Yeah.
It's a choice between, do you want to live in a home on wheels in 200 square feet? Do you want to live in an apartment stuck between two other apartments for $1,000, maybe 500 square feet, or a house for 3,000 square feet with neighbors? There's different types of homes out there. That's why I say homes, because it's what you make it. It's not a house necessarily. So it's just a question of what fits your lifestyle.
Right.
And what do you want to pay for?
Yeah.
Are you using it logically? Is it worth the energy?
That's true.
And so a lot of people, like myself, I don't want to pay for an apartment because I'm not there.
Yeah.
Some other people kind of want to be more mobile because they love traveling. Or people that primarily work online,
Yeah.
they want to be able to move around. It actually gets their work juices flowing, sort of say, re-energizes them to not be in one place. Always have a different cafe to
That's
work
what
at.
the guy I interviewed who also lived in a van a couple of weeks ago, he said the same thing. Like he worked online for Shopify, so he was like, why don't you stay in one place? Like I could just, if I need Wi-Fi, I can just go to an internet cafe.
Exactly.
Or just a cafe, not even an internet cafe. It's like a place.
They're all internet cafes now.
Yeah, every building is an internet cafe.
So it's interesting. I mean, I think there's a huge group of students doing this because they want to save money with tuition fees. And then that's a great help. And then you get into your career and then you get a new apartment.
Yeah.
Right? That's the one aspect. And there's the other who just realize it's a money saver as well. Right?
And you don't move
That's the community, really. Right?
Cool. So what did the other people say to you to say to them? The people that you said had put comments anonymously and you...
Well, the thing is, I think we have to remember when you see something, and we do forget this a lot. And I think it's tough to connect with people because there's so many of us on the planet.
Yeah.
It's hard to have an emotional attachment. But when you see a person, you need to think to yourself, when people look at me, what do they think? Because just because you see someone in their van and you find out they're sleeping there, why do you immediately go to drug addict?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The truth is, most people aren't. In fact, a huge number, and even the homeless person on the street who is homeless, I am not.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
They're not even drug addicts. That's the thing. Right? I mean, it's interesting because a lot of people travel and they sleep in their car while they're traveling. But for some reason, nobody seems to think that. They always go to psycho.
Yeah.
Like, well, or maybe I'm just traveling cross country.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's cool.
So that's the thing, and that's when I tell people, look, I had a CEO job,
Yeah.
a couple of years ago.
Cool. What
And
did you
anyone
work for?
can go from one to the other. I was a film producer.
Oh, that's really awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I ran my own company. So I went from that to this by choice. But there's people that end up going from having everything, in quotations,
Yeah.
to nothing. And that
Yeah.
could be you from one day to the next.
For
For
sure.
a lot of different reasons. For one, I can give you a quick example here of how it can happen. At this moment in time, there are more people than actual jobs. That's just a fact nowadays.
Yeah.
I actually spent, a few years ago after I left the office and stopped producing films, I spent about almost a year without a job, trying to find a job. I
Yeah.
went into the service industry because I found out I liked it. I got job training. I finally got a job.
Yeah.
But that came after about a year of looking. And now I'm looking again actually for a job.
Yeah.
So now if I don't have a job and my EI runs out, say I have an apartment, I can't pay that. I don't have anyone to give me a loan right now. Where do I go to next? I'd rather not be on the street sleeping in front of your doorway, freezing my butt off.
Yeah, that's cool. That is cool.
Yeah. At least I'm out of the way, I'm in my car. That is what's considered homeless, right?
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to be there, who wants to get out and get back to the apartment. So that's the thing about that I want to tell people is don't just, assume what you see jumps into that thought of
the whole
someone's
category, yeah.
exactly castaways or someone that's going to cause trouble. And I know Vancouver's a difficult place for it because the homeless population has tripled in years, in the past 10 years, if not more.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a good portion of people that unfortunately are addicted. That is not their fault to a certain point. But just because we see that a lot doesn't mean that's what everyone's doing.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? That's the difficulty. And most of these people, they don't want to be addicted. They're struggling to get off.
Yeah.
And they once had lives and everything that just disappeared one day. I have one friend who was married.
Yeah.
She's a retiree. Her husband died. They had no money. She lost her home. Couldn't afford anything else. Nobody would hire her. She was thankful that her husband had a van. Now she lives in that, and she's barely able to live off a pension, which is about $500 a month. That's it. So if there was no van, she'd be dead by now, probably on the street homeless.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So she has a home. Because of that, has no job, has very little income. Right?
Yeah.
So if it wasn't for having a home that has wheels, right? And at least if she's in the way, she can move, just like us.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Right? So that's the thing, you never know how you're going to end up there.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? It might be a choice, but it might not be.
So what kind of, you say that people have attacked you,
Yeah.
like how did that come about? How did it make you feel? Can you kind of talk a bit more about it?
When I was attacked, the main way it happens is physical, and it's happened, well, they know I'm in the van, and they know I'm home.
Yeah.
They end up just shaking the vehicle, yelling, hitting the vehicle with objects.
Yeah.
At one point, I got so bad that my whole car was destroyed. Literally, and I say this because my tires were slashed, so I couldn't go anywhere. But then I had threatening letters telling me to leave. But wait a minute, now I can't take my home with me because you've now destroyed it. It's like being in a flood.
That's really
Right now I'm going to stay in a hotel.
Yeah.
And then I left one day, and I came back to find out the whole engine had been destroyed. So now they're doing this just to have a control of power issue. And the letters they wrote to me were things of like, we don't want you homeless here and drug addicts. Like, first of all, this is interesting. I know you don't want us here, but look around you. Look around you. There's homeless everywhere.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is what they're saying to me. And I'm thinking, wow, for someone who's in the modern day social media, you think you'd be better educated to know the difference.
Yeah, for sure. Do you know, I assume they didn't sign the letter or anything? You don't
No,
know
they
what
wouldn't
came
have.
from? Yeah.
They wouldn't have signed the letter, right?
What neighborhood was it?
Pardon me?
What neighborhood were you part of?
This was in Strathcona. The first time it happened in Vancouver, which is the ironic part. Strathcona has the highest population of homeless people.
Yeah, I was thinking that, because it's not too far from Hastings.
But if you're going to attack me, you might as well go attack some homeless person sitting on a bench.
Yeah. Well, which is scary, because maybe they do, Like, I didn't know that was a...
The ironic part is most of these people had jobs and careers. Jobs disappear, they're too old to be retrained, nobody wants to retrain them. Where do they go? They can't afford rent.
Yeah, there's nowhere you can go.
No.
Especially in Canada as well, because there's nowhere that you can go if you lose your home in Canada apart from Vancouver, because you will die.
Exactly.
You will literally die.
In 2015, in September of 2015, the Supreme Court ruled because of the homeless population, and I'm saying homeless because that's specifically what they ruled against. Because they did not have enough shelter beds, the Supreme Court ruled that anybody can camp in a government park overnight from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. legally now, as long as you're not in the way of anybody, because there might be a soccer game the next morning.
Yeah.
So be off to the sun.
Well, that's fair.
This is how they solved that issue, because they didn't want people sleeping in street corners and all that. Right?
Yeah.
There's not enough for those homeless people. This is why, right?
Mhm.
And that was the one way they solved that problem because they can't build shelters fast enough.
Yeah.
And they say, go find a job. Yeah, but there's
You
no
can't
work.
find a
I mean,
job,
look,
like you can't get a shower and you can't get a haircut.
I am a skilled person myself. I spent about a year, put over 300 resumes out trying to find a job. So if I can't find one, what makes you think that someone who's got no skills can find one unless you help them?
Yeah.
And even if you help, again, I go back to the thing, there's more people than jobs in this world now. So it's not that the person's not trying.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So when you attack me or attack any of my friends who are mobile, it brings back the thought of just wondering sort of why? Why? Why are you attacking me?
Yeah.
It makes no sense. Why are you assuming that I'm this way or that way?
Yeah. Yeah, it's an education thing for sure. Well, I mean, obviously that's part of it. It's an education thing.
That's part of it, right? Again, you have to remember that most people are choosing to live like nomads.
Yeah. So you say you're quite active on social media.
I'm quite active, yeah.
Is that you're trying to raise awareness about it, or like what's your kind of motivations?
I am definitely trying to raise awareness of it, right? I've got all the social media platforms, right?
Yeah.
And in our early 20s, most of us go backpacking or some sort of an adventure.
Oh, yeah.
For some of us, it doesn't stop. You want to continue doing it, right? The reason I want to raise awareness is that middle group, the 20s and early 30s, are the people that get it. But the people later after that, a lot of them don't. And this is why I want to raise awareness. For them, the adventure, the backpacking was in between college and that was it. They settled and got a home and all that.
Yeah.
Right, which is great. But unfortunately, in this day and age, now doing that, in the long term, you're spending money on something you don't even have.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get to keep the house. You're still paying mortgage till 90. Why?
Yeah.
Right? And so the awareness to say that travel, why does it have to end? Why does it have to end? In this generation now, it's not ending.
Yeah.
We're still traveling. We're working full-time jobs in some cases, or part-time. But this is what people don't seem to wrap their head around, is that this is now a job for some people working online.
Yeah.
But they're in cafes more than anything else.
Yeah.
So why would I pay for an apartment? Not to mention good luck finding an apartment in Vancouver.
Oh yeah.
I don't care what price we're talking, good luck finding one.
Yeah. When you're in, stay. That's the general rule. Like if you have it, just stay and never leave.
Never leave.
Yeah. You just have to never leave. It's a bit better.
So I think there's a whole group that just don't realize that the world has changed. And the backpacking culture is now full-time. A nomad culture is full-time now, living that way. We've brought it back from what was happening hundreds of years ago with the Vikings being nomadic.
Yeah.
It's just the style of how we do it is now in vehicles and not carriages or not in a tent.
Cool. Does your work know? Do they,
Yes.
They know?
They love it.
Awesome.
I mean, they just love it because they love hearing the stories and
Right.
they're all jealous.
Yeah.
They're like, wow, I wish I could just pick up and leave for a month if I wanted.
Yeah.
It's the sort of thing where people say children will ruin your life. Because you can't just pick up and go, you have a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
It's not that they're ruining your life, but you're like, oh, you always want to go. You're like, when I was 20,
Yeah, exactly.
just pick
And
up
they
and
just
go.
didn't do it. Yeah.
Having an apartment is like having a child. You're always worried about it.
Yeah.
You're saying, I wish I shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
That's very true.
That's the thing. And it's the sort of idea of, if you want to have a job, a better job than you have now, you need to quit your job to have the fear to put the effort in to find a new job.
Yeah.
It's like with me or a lot of other people. You want to have that travel lifestyle, you got to give up your apartment and have the fear. Because
Yeah.
some people say they'll do it, and they just don't because
Yeah,
it's
to push
comfortable.
yourself to do it.
push yourself to do it. And it does take a specific type of person. You can realize that it's not always for everybody, right?
Yeah. That's true.
But so I want try to raise more and more awareness that it's not just, hey, I'm on vacation for a year from college.
Yeah.
No, I like living on the road full time.
It's the big one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. So what's you say your people at work like the stories that you tell? Do you have a good story?
Oh my gosh. Well, One of the stories, I talk to people a lot about getting lost somewhere. And it's happened a few times where I've just gotten lost in the country of
Yeah.
Canada, and I didn't know I took the wrong turn. And I'll stop somewhere and be like, well, okay, I'm lost. I'm a little tired of driving.
Yeah.
There's a beautiful view. Well, I don't have to be anywhere.
Yeah.
Why am I worried? I have a place to sleep because I have a bed in the back and not seats.
Yeah.
All right, I'll just stay. And, that excites them, and they're kind of jealous. They're like, if that was me, I'd be freaking out. I need to find a hotel. I have no place to sleep. I'm like, yeah, it's because you have no bed in the back.
Yeah. That's good.
They're jealous that I can just stop anywhere. I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, getting lost is important, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to have that kind of uncertainty in life.
And it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
People like hearing it because people like hearing about alternative lifestyles, right? And people like to watch videos on YouTube and movies all about travel and things that they've never experienced. We crave that. Everyone has a desire of some sort.
Yeah.
For most people, it is travel. And sometimes we can't do it, so we live vicariously through other people.
Yeah. Very true.
Right?
Very true.
And, that's a huge segment of the people that do this. And the ones that don't do it for that reason or because they're just trying to struggle to get by. Because of the housing market, the crisis of how expensive it is.
Yeah.
Right? And we say it's Vancouver, but it's slowly shifting out to the suburbs more and more. With the new SkyTrain lines, there's new towers being built every day.
Yeah,
It's
house
going
prices in Richmond are up.
exactly.
30%.
And because of inflation, unless we give a raise in the industry, we're never going to be able to afford anything. But because of inflation, we'll never afford anyways.
Yeah.
As soon as we get a raise in our wage, the apartment rental goes up.
Yeah.
That's why you've got 10 people living in, one apartment on bunk beds.
Yeah.
Right? So, in one regard, a lot of people do this to save money so they can put a down payment on a home or an apartment, which is wonderful. If that's what you want, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Right? Do it. But then, of course, you've got this beautiful home but nothing in it.
Yeah.
Or as I told some of my friends, I'm like, look, go out and get as many loans as you possibly can, buy that home, get a bunch of credit, buy as much furniture as you want, and then you'll die and it won't matter anyways that you have debt, because no one's going to get it anyways. Who cares? Let the bank have the house. There was a house in Burnaby I was putting a down payment on,
Yeah.
and then it just occurred to me, I don't need this house. I was starting a family at the time, and then that didn't happen. And so I'm like, well, I don't really need it for myself. What am I going to do with this?
Yeah.
I don't really care. I'd rather spend the money on going to Europe for a year.
Yeah. Yours pretty cool.
It's brilliant.
Not bad price on here.
Oh, it's great.
Yours fun. Interrailing's really easy there as well. The train system. You can get like a train ticket that gives you unlimited train for like a couple months or something.
It's true. They're very good prices if you're buying long term. It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. I grew up in England, so whenever I got time, I used to fly to Norway. I really love Norway. It's like a £30 flight.
Wow.
It's so cheap. It's cheaper to fly to Bergen in Norway than it is to get the train from like London to Manchester. So insane. So I used to just do that instead.
It's still amazing how cheap that is there, realistically.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. When I do travel to Europe, I tend to fly to America, and I'll fly to Houston.
Yeah.
And then from there, actually, to London,
Yeah.
it's actually cheaper than going anywhere else, and then I can go.
Yeah.
Because the last ticket I got was $400 from here, Vancouver,
Yeah.
to Houston, and then to London. $400 return.
That's true. 400 return? That's very
It's amazing. I don't know how I got that, but usually it's less than 600. I found like 500 or so.
That's good. Like I normally get to London for about 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Takes me to get to London, which is
So if you leave from America, it's actually cheaper. If you're planning on traveling, backpacking, or drive across the border, park the car, put it in storage, and go.
yeah.
And then pay your monthly rent.
My problem is vacation. You
Yeah.
only get 2 weeks vacation because I'm full time.
Yeah.
So I'm employed, which is that's a bitch.
Well, how often do you work?
Uh,
I mean, office-wise?
Oh, every day, like 9 to 5,
Yeah,
Monday to Friday.
basically.
I get to.
I mean, you're still working when you're not working.
I'm actually okay at leaving work at work. I'm actually quite good at that. Like most people, journalism is normally you can't do that because you're at events and you're covering things in the evening. But like work is also good that if you're out at an event
Yes.
in the evening before, you just don't come in until like 1 or something, and that's fine. No one seems to care.
Well, they know you were covering an event.
But they don't even know. They could just assume. Honestly, we could show up at like 3 and like no one would know that you hadn't been, like as long as you're producing coffee. They're quite,
Something.
yeah,
They'll know
as long
that's
as you're
what you're...
making something, it's okay. Like it's actually a great company to work for.
Oh, that's
It's a
brilliant.
trust thing. It's a trust thing. Like right now, like they don't know where I am, but I'm not in the office. Like,
But they know you're doing something,
but they
probably.
just assume.
Well,
that,
and they know your work ethic.
yeah, that's the thing.
It's great because actually, when I first started in the world of work,
Yeah.
my first job was as a freelance writer.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I would write.
What'd you write for?
First, I started out writing theatrical reviews for a company called You Think. They're a small paper. I don't even know if they're around. This is 15 years ago,
Yeah,
not more.
yeah,
This is how long it's been.
yeah.
And then just freelance for local papers like the Maple Ridge Times and things like that.
They actually pay quite well. Like local papers actually have a reasonably big budget for freelance pieces, comparatively.
Yeah,
Comparatively.
because they've got a smaller staff, so they can do that.
Yeah.
They're smaller overhead because they've got smaller offices, so they've got more money to spend on other things. Which I think they need to in a way. Because if you're a smaller company, you need to spend more money, I think, on coverage and getting those stories that people want to hear, as opposed to always buying free donuts for staff.
Yeah, yeah.
As great as that is,
Free donuts would be cool. We
But
don't
then
get
you're-
free donuts.
are-
That would be nice.
really, come on, George Strait.
Sometimes Chet, who's like the IT manager, sometimes he buys donuts for everyone.
Right.
But I don't think that's a company. That's just Chet being really
That's
nice.
just Chet. He's
Chet,
just,
man.
that's
Nice
just,
guy.
yeah, that's cool. Who doesn't like donuts?
Thanks, Chet.
I love donuts. These at work too, at the restaurant that I work at. Someone always brings something to work. Hey guys, I've got coffees for everyone. Even though we have coffee there,
Yeah.
it's like, but I've got these coffees that we don't make.
That's nice. That sounds like a good vibe.
I mean, that's any job, right?
Yeah. Oh, if you got a good one, I've had some bad ones.
I am so thankful for the company that I'm working for right now.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. I'm having a great time. I love it. We all get along, right?
That's
we all
actually
work.
really big.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. I used to work for the Canucks, actually, like a few years ago. I used to sell beer in the stadium, which is the best job ever. Like I was working full time, and I just wanted to do it because it's just in the evenings, and I watched every single Canucks game, like ice level. I got paid to do it, but the people there were so nice. That's the only reason I didn't quit, and they're still so nice. Like I don't work there anymore because of time constraints, but like everyone's going out this Saturday. I don't work there, but it's cool because they're all going out anyway. It's a really good vibe.
I've seen those ads looking for beer
Oh
slingers
shit,
there.
you should do that job. Like honestly, it's the most fun thing. It's
Because
the most
right now
fun
it's
job
hockey
I've ever
season
done.
too. It's starting up, so I'm seeing that.
Yeah,
Wow, that's nuts.
it is the most fun job that I've ever done.
Oh
I
my
liked it a
gosh.
lot. I liked it a lot, and like I think being female helped, but I'd make like $200 a night for like 4 hours of work.
Wow.
With like tips.
Hmm. Yeah, that can be a bonus for tips. If you're getting tips there too.
Oh yeah.
Were you behind a bar then, or like it was a concession?
I like as a hawker. Some people are on the concourse, the kind of concession buckets, but like I was more senior because I was there for a while, and you just wear like the tray, and you just walk up and down the aisles. So you're in the whole game, so you get the whole game. So that was the only reason I did it. It was like a $300 ticket, but I was getting paid like $300 to be there. So I made $600 if you think about it. Minus the ticket price. It was great.
It's good. Yeah, that's good. You have to look at it that way.
Yeah, I recommend that job. All
Yeah.
jobs are for the perks. All jobs I've ever done are for the perks. Apart from when I was a graphic design, I was a graphic design.
Yeah.
That was shit. That had no fun.
I've done jobs where I just needed it because I needed the money, or it was for the perks. You know. Interestingly enough, because I'm so mobile, I can apply. This is the great part about being mobile. If anybody's interested in doing that, it's just you can take any job anywhere where you can drive to it,
Yeah.
and they will pay you more because if you're going to like a secluded hotel or something,
Yeah.
they will pay you more.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because no one lives around.
Exactly, that's the thing. People pay big money to go there for a weekend. The big problem is, though, a lot of these companies do not have accommodation for staff. It's all for customers because they need to
Yeah.
make as much income as possible. The revenue is a huge thing for those places. So if you show up and say, I live in my motorhome, great, we'll hire you.
Yeah.
You're guaranteed to work and not leave halfway through because, you know, whatever
Yeah.
reason.
You've got to go back and
Exactly.
your partner in city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and I've worked for companies where I was on location and they provided housing, but it cost more than what I was making. Unfortunately, and then you're back at square one. You've not made any money then.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's the difficulty thing. And I've worked with people who will camp out in their tents, but then that can get too cold and a little scary when there's bears.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a bit risky. I don't know if I can
You know,
long term.
and a lot of people have, because then they just don't have to pay rent when they're working at this location. I'm like, you know what? The bear was the one thing they were all concerned about. And I'm like, me, I was in my van. I didn't have to worry about bears. They're not getting through that vehicle.
Yeah. So do you
You
think
know.
you'll ever stop living the van life and go back to apartment or house?
I think I will go back to an apartment one day, but right now,
Yeah.
I'm still antsy. I still like, I'm a wanderluster. It's in
Yeah.
me. I haven't had enough yet.
Yeah.
I've not had enough yet,
Fair.
realistically. You know, and that's where it really comes down to.
Cool.
Is most people that do this, and me including, just love having that option to just get up and go. Because people that have an apartment in a city don't usually have a vehicle and they want to go,
Yeah.
but they can't afford it.
Yeah, for sure. I gotta have a car.
I mean, I'm not going to say who it was, but I once rented from one of these car companies that you see on the street and you can get the app and you unlock it and you pay by the minute and by the gallon.
Yeah.
It cost me more for that than to purchase a vehicle.
Oh, they are actually really expensive.
They're
Like a car share
phenomenal.
is good, but short trips, like 3 times a month or something.
Yeah.
And anything more than that, they're like.
So, you know, you'd have to purchase from a rental company then, but even then, you know, some people can't afford that
Yeah.
to get away for the weekend. If you do get away, then you're exhausted to get back. Well, now I have to get back on the bus or back on the train. It's like, oh, I have to carry my bags and
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
And then the other hand, some people want to get away from the rat race and just don't want to be a part of all the city and all that. And you know, people that live in the country are actually happier than most people. Right? Research shows.
Yeah.
And so for me, yeah, right now I'm really happy being mobile. You know, and I'm okay with being houseless, but I'm not homeless.
Yeah. Cool.
You gotta remember, a home means all sorts of things.
Yeah. It's a cultural assumption. Home is different to like a physical place, right?
Exactly, right? So for me, I have a home. Although ironically, people have asked me, so you live in your van? But really I don't. Because I think about what constitutes living in a place. I think, look, I'm there because I'm sleeping 5-6 hours. I'm sleeping there, not
Yeah.
necessarily living there.
Yeah.
And, you know, you could claim this for any lawyer in an office. The guy lives in his office. Well, no, but he's got so much paperwork, he would rather sleep there before going home. You know, be there for 2 days. Doesn't mean he's living in his office, but he's
Yeah.
sleeping in his office.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a big, big thing there, right? And heck, if you're going to be doing long hours in the office, don't drive home at the end of the night. Seriously, you
Yeah.
don't want to cause an
Yeah, that's
accident. Right. So that's you know, an interesting thing, and I'm finding that about myself as well. Is what does it mean to have a home,
Cool. That's
right? And that can be, again, you got to remember, what does the word home mean versus the word house.
Yeah.
And
I dig
we
it.
associate the two things, but it does not necessarily go together. There's more options. Not to mention, I'm saving a lot of money.
Yeah. It's always a perk. I would like that. Cool. Is there anything else that you wanted to tell me that you haven't really covered?
Well, that's the thing. The big thing I wanted to, reiterate is that when you see someone or realize someone is, quote unquote, living in their van or sleeping in their van, don't assume they're doing it full time.
Right.
Maybe they're backpacking through Canada and traveling,
Yeah.
because as everybody does that at one point in their life, so maybe that's all they're doing.
Yeah.
Even if they are, maybe they're only going to be there for a day or two. If they are, who are they bothering if they're parked legally?
Yeah.
2, if you do realize someone is living in their van, don't assume they're drug addicts or alcoholics.
Yeah.
I have a full-time job. My van is phenomenally clean. You never know I'm in it.
Yeah.
And I'm barely even there,
Yeah.
right? So that's the big thing I want to put out. Don't associate that with people that are quote-unquote a nuisance. Because the nice people across the street who have an apartment are the ones who attacked me.
Yeah. Yeah. Not so nice.
And if you think it's a problem to have people in their vans, or what you're really thinking is the homeless problem, if you really have an issue with it, then we should really band together and do something about it. This is why the Supreme Court allows people to sleep in public parks now,
Yeah.
to help that issue.
The way that we fix it.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's the big thing.
Awesome. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for talking to me. I feel like I've got a lot of
A lot of stuff, not just...
safe.
Yeah, all sorts of chit chat. I mean, that's the main thing people in my community want to talk about. Let people know that we're not homeless. I think people, because since the 70s it hasn't happened in a while, people have forgotten that it's a choice.
Yeah. Awesome.
That's what's weird.
Yeah, it is. I think it's different. It's a culture shock for people.
I think the older generation, they've forgotten. There's that middle generation that doesn't remember, or they were never there, but then there's like the older seniors, 70s, 80s, that remember all that.
Yeah. Okay, great. I need to take a shot of you. And here's pretty better. I feel like it's horrible outside. Like, it means...
It's horrible.
On Starbucks.
No.
I want to promote Starbucks.
Well, there's nothing behind me, per se.
Starbucks. Great. Good work. Yeah, amazing. I'll take a coffee. Okay, can I put this down a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
And get more of you in. Okay, great. Yes, I think I got
What were you using? Is it an auto picture? What are you using that to take the picture? Is it just like a continuous shot? How did you do that? Because you did a couple of photos, but I didn't see you move your hand that much.
Oh, it's because it's on my focus spot.
The auto. Okay, that's right. I was
And
wondering
then
how do you.
buttons down here and then...
I have a. Wait, this is I have a Canon, but I haven't figured out yet all the settings. I just got it.
Jesus Christ, there's so many settings. I don't think
I
I've
know.
figured out what the settings
Like when
are.
I do my videos online, it's all usually with my phone.
Yeah. Like the cameras and stuff, the technology's so good. Like I've used iPhone shots for like publication things, and they're great.
Unless you're doing a billboard, even then it's great. But unless you're doing a billboard, you don't really need anything that phenomenal.
Exactly. Cool. I think I have lots. Amazing. Thank you so much for talking to me. I feel like I don't want to tie you up from getting to...
If what?
I don't want to tie you up from getting to work, so...
God, I'm trying to find a job actually. The company I'm working for now is shutting down.
Oh,
No, everyone's being laid off.
that's so
Yeah, it really does. I mean, they're reopening in a while, but they're renovating. But
yeah, but until then, they're not...
and it's like a year. It's not short. So everyone is like
Has to get in you. Are they giving you severance?
only if you've been there long enough. You got to be there certain.
Yeah.
It's
That's
you know,
frustrating.
well, I think it's tough. That's life. That's why I'm working online too. Oh, what time is it? What time is it? Oh, this is perfect. This is perfect. I can. I have to plug up the meter.
Perfect.
Basically. Um,
Cool. Which, edit this way.
um, not that it matters because my name is so unique. But I was gonna say, just using the first name's probably the best.
It's actually anonymous.
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah, we don't use names.
Because there's more than one Attila Thalai in the city. That's the thing.
Really?
There's a lot. There's a few, but
Yeah, your name's great. Like, real name.
yeah, that's my real name. I'm Hungarian.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, really close. I'm part of the EU myself.
Yeah, that's
Love it.
really cool.
But now England did separate, didn't they? So I can't work there now.
Yeah, well, I can't work anywhere now, apart from here in England, so too bad. Okay. I'm
tough
gonna
one.
head, but I'll send you the article when it's done.
Oh yeah,
Thank you
brilliant.
so much.
Yeah, I didn't know
Should
it
be
would.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Should be Saturday or next
Cool.
Saturday, maybe this Saturday. But I'll keep you posted.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, if you do want to use my name, feel free. Just the first name.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks, darling. Cheers.